Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the weekly watches video brought to you by DeepView. That's a platform that you currently see here on your screen, and it is my daily driver. And we've got some very exciting news regarding monthly and annual subscriptions, so keep on the lookout for that. But first, starting with the market indexes, we'll take a look at the QQQ, the SPY, as well as the IWM, get a sense of the overall market, and then later on we'll dive into some individual names. But starting with the QQQ, this has obviously been in a very powerful trend above a rising 21 EMA. Now we have had a pullback over the last 3 days, a little bit of hesitation up here, some warning signs and some leaning stocks here, failed breakouts, fall through to the downside, and then a gap up again, and then a poor close near the lows. However, all is not lost. We're still above a rising 21 and 50 SMA. The uptrend is intact, but we could be in for another pause similar to something like this, or maybe something choppier, something like this. So, still in the context of an uptrend, I think this is healthy. It will set up a lot of nice bases if we continue to kind of consolidate a bit, but be ready for basically everything. This should give a shot to get into some leaders if you don't have positions, and should provide some really nice pivots and potential entries. So that is the QQQ. Obviously, there's been some rebalancing going on, which I think has contributed to the weakness of the med caps. But that's pretty much it for the QQQ. Bring up the SPY. Let's go ahead and hide the stash chart down here for now. Looking at this, you can see pretty nice trend here above a rising 21 EMA, 50 SMA, 200 SMA. Looks like there's a spike here that we'll take care of. But overall, same thing, pretty much trending, and potentially starting a correction. A pullback to the 21 EMA would be completely natural and set up a lot of really nice bases. Bringing up the IWM, you can see this had a nice run up the right-hand side of this overall base. It's good to see this participating. Again, a pullback to 21 EMA would be completely normal, and just want to see how it responds to those key levels, and want to see constructive price action, and ideally on a pullback we don't see too much high volume. We have seen a few distribution days recently, but for the most part things haven't been completely breaking. Just looks more like we need a pause, but obviously we take it day by day, and be ready for anything. Be ready for a pullback to the 50 SMA. Think about how your positions will react if something like that happens, and whether you can withstand that pressure to your portfolio and act accordingly. Maybe you do have to lighten up a little bit if you haven't been already over the past 3 days. But overall, that's pretty much it for the general indexes. They all pretty much show the same thing, nice trend above the moving averages and the start of a potential pullback, or just, weakness over the past 3 days, and a little bit of hesitation this day right here. So with that said, I want to dive into a few charts in this screen that I just created last week, and I'm really liking here in Deep View. And this is a liquid strength screen. So what it's looking for are stocks with dollar volume greater than 100 million on average on a 20-day basis, reasonably high price over $20, common stock, and then I want to see either 1 month absolute strength greater than this value here, and then 3-month relative strength greater than 87. So one of these has to be true for a stock to pass through this screen. And it's pretty selective. You can see there's only about 52 names in here as of this moment, and it gives a good sense of what are the liquid leaders doing. I love to run this and see how many are red on a day, how many are green, what are the closing ranges on average, and just going through this list gives you a great sense of how the overall market is doing. So I recommend setting up this screen if you've got Deep View, and if you don't have Deep View, be on the lookout soon, and definitely consider picking it up. I think you guys will be very, very pleasantly surprised. So with that, let's run through a few names here, and let's go ahead and make sure it's sorted by that 3-month absolute strength, and let's run through a bunch of charts rapid fire. I'll give you kind of my raw thoughts. So overall, really nice trend. CVNA, obviously this is a more volatile name, and a little bit extended in its move here. So Definitely not for the faint of heart, and really you want to be maybe day trading this or quick swings in here. But completely normal, nice trend above a rising 21 and 50 SMA. SMCI, a more normal leader here, really nice trend over the 21 EMA, nothing wrong. Nice upside reversal even yesterday, and a decent day today. We do have increased volume, but we'll have to see what happens here. Still above a rising 21, 50, and 200 SMA. UPST, very strong trend. Again, a little weakness recently. BBIO, gap up. I'm not sure if it was acquired or if this was on some type of announcement, but one to watch going forward. This is a huge volume spike here, so I'll look into this a little bit more. You can see it's above the anchor VWAP from this bar right here. We just introduced this very recently, and you can add it to whatever bar you wish. I like doing earnings gap ups, base highs, base lows, swing highs, swing lows. A lot of what Brian Shannon teaches I've adopted, and I do find it really, really useful. So definitely check out that feature. RVN, this is holding up much better than most of the kind of tech stocks. Very strong off these lows here. You can see it was there's potentially a cheat entry right through the top of this range. You'd really have to be paying attention to the stock, but really nice range breakout here. Really strong run. Let's see, it rose about 70, 80% in just a matter of days. Gaps in here really showing strength. Went sideways as a lot of the market was pulling back in, and was up nicely when Tesla was gapping down. We did have a gap up and fake out here. I think this is just overall market weakness, and I just watch for this to tighten up here, and ideally let the 21 EMA kind of catch up to price before it tries to advance here. We are moving into an area where there could be some overhead supply, and this is well off all-time highs, although it is above the anchor VWAP from this level. So the average participant since May of last year is in the green, but you do have the IPO day anchor VWAP and the all-time high anchor VWAP to deal with up here once it does, if it does get to that point. But I do like the step up in average volume. So definitely a name to have on your radar, and I'll be watching this one pretty closely. Skipping through, we won't go through all these. AI pulling back under the 21, just looks like it's forming a range between around 50 and 31 or so. MDB acting fine, churning a little bit, can't hold this breakout, but just pulling back to 21, so look for a spot near here. And for really all of these names, nothing's broken. They're just seeing, a few days of weakness, and look for spots where you can manage risk against, whether that's against a key moving average that's respected before, like the 21 EMA, or, if it pulled back to the top of a prior range. There's many stocks doing that shortly. I'll be watching NVIDIA to do something similar to that. Look for a spot off that, but, try to build a case for a stock continuing to lead, and look for a spot where there's confluence, where there's multiple, levels of interest coinciding, whether it's an anchored VWAP, a 21 EMA, a prior base pivot, a key level like the 400 level. You can see that, the 21 EMA right near that as well. So build a case for why a stock could find support, and then watch that level of interest and, manage risk accordingly. So that is MDB. Recent gap up name, not huge volume on the gap up, but acting well and trending above that 21 EMA. Bill pulling back pretty sharply. So, look out for the ones that are really showing weakness. Ideally, you're seeing a slow pullback, just, very subtle weakness. This is a little bit sharper, but still it's above a rising 21 and 50 SMA. But yeah, just watch out for, really sharp declines, especially if it slices through that 21 EMA. It might just need, a lot more basing to absorb that selling. Coin staying relatively tight. It is, below these lows, but acting pretty well. You do have an outside bar here, a negative outside bar, but no real volume here. And this type of bar, really shouts at me that, something's going on. Institutions are looking to accumulate this thing. And I'd watch, this carefully to see if a setup presents itself here. DDOG acting well, a little bit intermediate weakness. Again, 21 EMA lines up with this base pivot. So watch that area pretty closely. And just, watch for some type of U-turn where you could buy, maybe a range breakout or similar other setup. MRVL, just basing under this level, watch for a setup against that 21 EMA, which lines up, pretty closely to these highs here. NCLH, I was just watching this one, pretty tight against that 21 EMA, so this could be actionable early next week. NVIDIA, you can see it's pulling back to that base pivot area as well as that 21 EMA. A lot of area of, confluence in this spot around, 434, 435. So watch for a reversal. Volume's a little bit picking up here, but, this is a very strong stock that's been respecting the 21 EMA, and we'll see if it continues to do so. RCL also acting well. The cruise lines here. XPO just trending nicely. I'll try to go a little bit quicker through these because there's a lot of charts to go through. A little bit of a breakdown after a false breakout, but holding that 50 SMA area Celsius. So we'll see how it resolves this kind of tight range. I like how it's going tight the past few days while the market is, pulling back a little bit sharper. So it could be actionable next week if it can pop back through that 21 EMA a little bit less obvious to the market than an entry like up here that quickly, reversed and reversed pretty hard. CFLT also reversal here, so look for a range to build near the confluence of this pivot here as well as the 21 EMA. RH, super strong trend above 2150 SMA. Tesla, very sharp decline here, and that gives me a little bit of worry. You can see I drew a line in here. I was getting a little bit extended and really sliced through that 21 EMA and that is now below it. This to me shows it needs, more time, more basing, and likely needs that 50 SMA to catch up to price. But obviously we take it one day at a time, and anything can happen with this name. And let's go ahead and show the stats table down here because this did stand out to me in DFU. One of the great things is you can see, estimates going out 10 plus quarters, and you can see the revisions. So these arrows mean that these estimates have been most recently revised downwards. And what stood out to me is that all these quarters have been revised downwards. I think margin was taking a hit or something similar, but yeah, we'll see what happens with this name. It still hasn't fully recovered. There's a lot of overhead supply trap buyers in here. It is above the anchored VWAP from those all-time highs, but we'll have to see what happens with Tesla. It's had a really nice run and could completely set up and base again and present a really amazing opportunity, but we'll just have to wait until that presents itself. Unity, very choppy here, but respecting the 21 EMA, you can see here and here, so watch that area. We've got a tight inside day, so we'll see if it resolves the upside or downside. MSCR, nice and tight, similar to coin. You can draw and I'll actually make an alert here through this DTL, and I'll set it a little bit early, but we'll go ahead and add that alert. And nice, pretty nice action today considering the overall market. Uber, nice and strong. Watch for reconfirmation through this mini flag here. Again, this respects that 21 EMA area as a lot of these names have been doing. ZS pretty much in a base here between 162 and around 136, 140. Failed move higher, and now just see if you can build some structure and tighten up and push higher again. BLDR, really nice run so far this year and just respect that 21, but weakness off the top, so we'll see if it can bounce up again. DKNG, this caught my eye as well, really nice and tight, but obviously can break down to the downside of this range too, so keep that in mind, but really nice action while the market was pulling back in, just going sideways and tight on a low volume. Live Nation, again, just trending nicely. SAIA also just trending nicely. AVGO, acting pretty well. You've got a consolidation pivot right here through this high. Let's go ahead and draw an early alert for that. And we'll make that happen here. But watch for, a pullback reversal off that 21 EMA area. That could be another entry point that's a little bit lower risk, and you can manage risk really easily versus that level. Dash going sideways here, just nice trend that it's in. GNRC, again, you've got potential buy point through these highs, nice upside reversal, then inside day today. Adobe, nothing wrong, just trending. Delta Airlines, doing nothing wrong, just trending as well. COHR, bending a little bit down here, but just kind of forming a base, and it's running into an area which could be support, as well as the 50 SMA, but it is below that 21 EMA. Meta, looks like it might need a longer basing period and pull back to the 50. We'll see what happens. This has been in a really nice trend. It's basically almost tripled off these lows. So, some break here would be normal, and we've had a really nice run in many of these mega caps, and, some rest, rebasing would be healthy and set up some new pivots. Monday, this has been pretty choppy, failed breakout through these highs and now pulling back to 21 and 50. I want to see if this can tighten a little bit. I love how tight it got right here. This is a really nice spot and a really nice run here. But, it's been kind of wider ranges, and let's see if it can tighten again and form a nice range that you can exploit. Shot pulling back to the 21, nothing broken here. TDD just pulling back here, still above rising 21.50. CZR just nice trend, no real weakness. ON pulling back really sharply to the 21, but nice respect. It's really tight inside day as well today. CSGP, CoStar Group, nice action, really nice trend. HubSpot, really nice trend as well above the 21 EMA. Netflix, this is a little bit more worrisome. Big gap below 21. It's now declining. Looks like to me it needs more base. Really big volume as well. So maybe we're just kind of seeing rotation out of these mega caps that have been, holding up really, really well and trending nicely into some other names because, outside of the big cap tech, things don't look too bad and things are just kind of trending above the 21 EMA. MLM, Martin Marietta Materials acting well. Match Group pulling back to 21, as well as this base pivot area, as well as, a few areas of confluence here. So watch for a reversal. Spotify just pulling back. Downside reversal today doesn't look great on an increase in volume, but we'll see how it acts versus this key level if it does pull back. United acting pretty well. VMC, these have been acting super great. The materials and home build type names. So we'll see how it acts versus this level. This could be potential for a swing trade off the 21. I love compressions in price and volume into that 21 area. BKI, gap up. I'm not sure if this was an acquisition or news or what, but I'll look more into this name because it's definitely a really interesting move here and going nice and tight. So we'll see what's happening here. Charles Schwab back at that 200-day moving average, see if he can recover. It's already recovered quite a bit, but we'll see if it can overtake that key level. Zion moving off the bottom here. CMA again moving off the bottom, and that's pretty much it. So nothing really is broken so far. Things are still trending above the 21 EMA. It's not all doom and gloom. We're still in a bull market, still in an uptrend at this moment, and we'll take it day by day and see what happens. But let me know in the comments what you think about this market. What stocks have you been holding that are still acting great? Let me know a few names down below. And if you do find my videos helpful, please consider leaving a like down below. It helps me out immensely. Lets YouTube know that this is valuable, and it pushes it to a wider audience who hopefully can benefit from it. So yeah, please consider leaving a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.